Okay. Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the Citywide Neighborhood Committee. I'm calling this meeting to order. My name is Elaine Apateng Butts. I am co-chair of the Citywide Neighborhood Committee, along with Peter Sumsich, who's my co-chair, and Will Gatchell is here with us. Lori Soloway, Kathleen Bodak, our secretary, is here as well. Thank you, everyone, for joining us tonight. We have 3 speakers tonight, and we're going to get started right away. The first speakers are the Bureau family. We have Chad, Cody, and Christine here with us. They're going to talk to us about the petition they started for colored lights on the Christmas tree on Market Square. Okay, please speak directly into the mic.
Yeah, thank you.
State your name and your address, Chad.
Yeah, so I'm Chad Bureau. This is Cody and my wife Christine. We live at 456 Lincoln. Actually just moved there a couple months ago. So we moved to Portsmouth a couple of years ago. We actually lived downtown when we first lived here, and we loved walking around downtown and loved Market Square, especially at Christmas time. And Cody noticed that the Christmas tree lighting the first year that we were here, that all the lights were white. And he prefers colored lights. So, you know, we rolled with it. And then the second year, we were at the Christmas tree lighting and they were white again. And he said, I'm going to write a letter to the mayor.
That's his idea.
Yeah.
All
And
right.
so,
Politician.
yeah. So actually, probably a couple of months ago, I actually saw Andrew Bagley walking down the street by our house shortly after we moved in. So instead of writing a letter, I caught him and I said, this might be an opportunity. So we gave him the sentiment, and he thought, okay, that seems reasonable. But I think the city just bought white lights a couple of years ago. But nevertheless, he put us in touch with a couple of folks, including Elaine and John Tabor. And in the meantime, we started to think that we might need to get a little bit more weight, behind the idea. So what we did is we created a petition to see if we could get more people to express interest in the lights. I personally like white lights, but Cody likes colored and Christine likes colored. And so
You see on Cody.
based on this,
Yeah, there you go.
based on this small sample set, it seems like 67% of the population likes colored lights. So we thought we'd start a petition to see how many signatures we could get. So we're aiming initially to get 2,000 signatures. We're at about 500 so far. And we also thought it would be good to maybe try to raise money at the same time if the town, had just paid for lights. So we also started a GoFundMe, but we wanted to couple that with a way to give back as well. So the purpose of the GoFundMe, the initial goal is to raise $5,000. We think roughly half of that would cover the lights. And then the other half of that, we've selected 2 charities that we are going to donate anything to over and above what we get for the lights, or even split it 50-50, or we'll see. But or if we don't get lights, we'll donate the whole thing to the charities. So that's the plan. So the 2 charities that we selected was one local charity, I Got Bridged. Some folks may have heard of that charity. We researched a lot of local charities in the area, and that was one that resonated with us, based on just kind of the breadth of what they do around the community and the Seacoast. And the other one is called Smile Train, which is more of a national charity. They support children and families with cleft palates and cleft lips. Cody actually had a cleft palate when he was born, and he's had 2 surgeries. And luckily his was relatively minor. And luckily I have pretty good insurance. So we handled that, and he handled that just fine. But not everybody's as fortunate. We probably would have had to pay 50 to 100K to get those things done had we not had that. And so Smile Train supports families who are not as fortunate and can't afford that. And so we thought that would be a good cause as well. So we've raised about $1,700 on the GoFundMe so far. These have only been out there for the last probably 3 or 4 weeks or so, and we haven't promoted too much yet. So we have more plans to promote, which we plan to do heavily over Halloween. But our proposal is not to just replace the lights with colored lights in the square. It's actually to get colored lights and then alternate white and colored every other year. So everybody, can benefit from whatever color lights they might like. So
That's a great
that's,
option.
that's the story.
And I did look online before I came here tonight, and there are about 500 signatures. And you said you had a goal of.
We put
2,000.
initial goal of 2,000. I think that represents maybe 20% of the households in Portsmouth, if I'm doing the math right, or maybe a little less. So anyhow, that was the initial goal, but we'll see how many we can get on both fronts.
Now, I told you that I reached out to Public Works to find out how many lights are gonna be needed, and it's 1,500 feet of lights. So that'll roughly, it'll be about 2,000, 3,000 rather.
Yep.
So I think you're halfway there, which is
Yeah.
great.
Mhm.
Yeah.
That's great. Does anyone have any questions for the bureaus? Can we get a comment from Cody?
Would you like to say? No.
He's decided he's not going to talk until we get colored lights.
So who here is in favor
Well-
of colored lights?
I had a quick question.
Oh,
Yeah.
Cody,
Code.
Cody, can I ask you a question about the lights? What about the colored lights? Do they make you happier?
Yeah.
A little more festive?
Yes. What about your friends at school? Do they like white or colored lights? I think they like color. Yeah. Now we did a little poll, so, yeah.
Was it your idea to switch it every year so everybody could get the lights they like?
No.
No, that was a little
No, no.
compromise we made.
But it wasn't-
Let it say that you'd like to say about colored, you just really like colored lights? Yeah.
Well, I just-
So he would go over to grandma and grandpa's every year and, grandpa really likes the white lights and grandma liked the color. So he would like switch it depending on who was in the room. So this has been going on for a while. Yeah.
Yes.
Well, I did notice that he is wearing some white lights as well as colored lights, so
There you go.
Yeah, so-
Maybe we can find
not
both.
sure why it can't be mixed.
That sounds good.
Yes, and when I did a quick research on the lights, on commercial lights, and I mentioned to you guys earlier that there are lights available, 100 feet lights available for like $200 per light. So you can look into that further. I'll send you that information.
Okay.
Okay,
Sounds good.
okay. So I was asking earlier, who here is for colored lights? Everybody?
I know, we're in a very traditional city, of course, but
Yes, Joan?
So how can I sign the petition?
oh, so we created a couple QR codes to make this easy, although I can also email links or whatnot. So we have one for
I'm sure. it'll be
petition and
Joan.
one for the GoFundMe. We can leave these here, but I don't know if you distribute things
Okay,
after, I can send you the
Send
links.
A link to
Yeah.
Elaine. She
Yeah,
could
we can do that.
distribute it, and If anybody wants to sign up.
Yeah,
we'll do
for
that.
sure.
Yeah, send them to me and I'll email our contacts and I'll post it online.
Sounds good.
Everybody share.
I don't think this committee wants to take a position on this right before the election.
You don't have to.
It's just-
Okay,
Sounds like a good idea, though.
yes, thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you
Thank
for
you.
coming
Yeah.
by. We
Thank
appreciate your
you.
time. Thank you, Cody.
You're welcome.
Well, if there aren't any other
Yeah, he's
questions,
coming.
Yeah, we will.
you guys can stay or you can leave. It's up to you. I understand if you have to go.
Thank you. You wanna talk? Say thank you on the microphone?
We'll see you at Halloween first.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
Yes.
You going to the parade?
Yeah.
Great.
Oh, yeah,
No.
parade, 7 o'clock on the
Well,
31st.
Well, now do know that we have a holiday lights contest where you can demonstrate how colorful your
Cody, be
Oh,
gentle with
yes,
that
yes.
microphone, please.
could be, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
So,
definitely.
Okay.
Okay, yeah, let's go.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank
Thank
you
you.
so much.
Thanks so much.
Thank you.
Thank
Nice to meet you too.
Good for you.
Thank you. Okay. Would you guys like to sit over there?
Oh, sure. Oh, did everybody sign their name over here? Did you sign your name?
The gentleman down there?
Yeah, is the sir down there?
We'll have him
we'll
sign.
pass it over.
Yes, we'll pass it up. Okay. Up next, we have Kelly Barnaby and June Philbrook of the Vegas City Clerk's Office. And tonight they will talk to us about voting information. Will will
Yes.
put up the presentation. Okay, please begin and speak directly into the microphone. as well,
Certainly.
As you know.
Thank you very much for having us this evening. we thought it was important for us to get some information out about the upcoming municipal election. So biannually, on the odd number of years, the city of Portsmouth holds an election to elect its governing bodies, such as the city council, school board, police commission, fire commission, board of registrars, and ward officials. The city council is elected at large, whereas the candidate receiving the highest number of votes will be elected as the mayor of Portsmouth. The candidate receiving the second highest number of votes will be elected as assistant mayor of Portsmouth, followed by the 7 councilors. Next slide, please. Voting registration requirements. You must be 18 years of age or will be 18 prior to election day. You must show us photo identification. A birth certificate or a U.S. passport is required to prove citizenship. You must be a U.S. citizen or a naturalized citizen. And if you were not born in the U.S., you will need to show a U.S. passport and/or naturalization documentation, as well as proof of residency of your Portsmouth physical address. We cannot accept a P.O. box. Next slide, please. At the polls on election day, if you are domiciled in a New Hampshire town or city ward, are 18 years of age or older on the day of the next election, and are a United States citizen, you may register to vote on election day at your polling location for your town or city ward. There is no minimum period of time you are required to have lived in the state before being allowed to register. You may register as soon as you move into your new community. Simply visit your designated polling location on election day, complete a voter registration form, show your proof of identity, age, citizenship, and having established a domicile in that city or town ward. If you do not have documentation with you to prove a qualification, you may prove your identity, age, citizenship, or domicile by completing an affidavit. Your local election officials will provide the forms needed and are happy to answer any questions you may have. Next slide. Some voter information. Our polling hours have been established from 8 a.m. to 7 p.m. The election will be on November 7th. It is a Tuesday. And the last day to register to vote prior to the municipal election will be on Saturday, October 28th. And there will be special hours between the hours of 12 noon and 2 p.m. in the lobby here of City Hall. There are 5 polling locations in the city of Portsmouth. Ward 1 is the New Franklin Elementary School, which is located on 1 Franklin Drive. Ward 2 is the Portsmouth Middle School located at 155 Parrott Avenue. Ward 3 is the Senior Activity Center at 125 Cottage Street. Ward 4 is the Don Darrow Elementary School at 32 Van Buren Avenue. And Ward 5 is Little Harbor Elementary School at 50 Cloud Drive. I apologize, but I added an extra slide, which I didn't send to you, but
Okay,
I just
okay.
wanted to give a little bit of information about absentee ballots.
Okay.
So the absentee ballots for the municipal election are currently available in the office of the city clerk for those that meet the requirements. The requirements are you have to meet one of the 5: absent on the day of the election from the city, an individual who is incarcerated for a misdemeanor or while awaiting trial, cannot appear in public on election day because of observance of religious commitment, a disability, or you cannot appear anytime during polling hours due to an employment obligation. The term employment shall include the care of children and infirmed adults with or without compensation. Next slide. Now, some upcoming information is our 2024 presidential primary. Unfortunately, due to circumstances, the Secretary of State has not announced the date of the presidential primary, but that date should be coming soon. And once that date is released, we will post that on the website and make the announcement. Voters must declare a party affiliation when casting their ballot in a primary election. Changes to party affiliation must be done in person at the office of the city clerk. However, the deadline for making changes has already passed. It was October 6th. Did you know that undeclared voters are permitted to vote in presidential primary and must declare party affiliation at their polling location? In the state of New Hampshire, there are 3 political parties: undeclared, Democrat, and Republican. Undeclared voters must visit the switchback table after casting their ballot to revert back to undeclared status, or they are required to stay with the party affiliation which they voted in the primary election until they change that information in our office. In conclusion, the Office of the City Clerk is working towards improving community engagement and voter knowledge. So thank you. If you have any questions, please feel free to contact us at cityclerk@cityofportsmouth.com, or my direct line is 610-7207. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Kelly. I have a question.
Sure.
What about students, college students?
Yes. So if they are not registered
Mhm.
and they need to register to vote, there is a packet of information that we send to them, and there are various forms that they're required to complete. There's an affidavit form. It's very self-explanatory and very easy to follow the directions. But if they have questions while they're filling the information out, they can give us a call.
Okay, thank
They
you.
do that on election day, Kelly.
Register in person on
In person
election day.
election day.
Yes, yes.
Okay. Does anyone have any questions?
Questions?
Great.
Joan?
Well, I have one constituent in Ward 3. I'm the state representative for Ward 3. And one of my constituents asked me to submit a bill to allow people 90 years old and older to vote absentee, or even 85 and older,
Mhm.
because he says the absentee ballot, gives the exception for if you have a disability, but he says I'm 90 and I don't have a disability.
Okay.
So I
Yeah, you could obviously submit that bill through the legislature. And the legislature would have to vote to approve that. And if it is approved, then that is something that the Secretary of State would make sure that every city and town clerk is aware of that. And it would be a new requirement that is added to the form for requesting an absentee ballot.
Okay.
Yeah,
all right, thanks.
you're welcome.
Thank you. Peter?
Hi, this is Gail Knowles. I was just wondering, even though like COVID is ramping up again and RSV and everything, we are no longer just being allowed to do absentee. I mean, I'm a poll worker, so I'm going to be there, but like my mother-in-law, she's 87, and I just didn't know if we're just pretending there's no more COVID and we're just going to go about our business. Is that what's happening?
Well, the Secretary of State's office would would have to implement the special COVID restrictions again, and they have not done that. So unfortunately, we are required to follow the law. And if
Well,
someone
yeah.
does meet a requirement for requesting an absentee ballot, they certainly can do so. But
Okay,
COVID
thanks,
is
Kelly.
not a requirement. You're welcome.
Yes.
They might
We'll wear
visit during
masks if
less
we need to.
active times, so not the first thing in the morning or not the last thing at night
Mm.
or at noon, so in the middle of the day.
Certainly.
Okay.
Thank you
Peter?
for your organization on this and
Oh,
conveying everything to us.
you're very welcome.
Yeah,
Thank you very
thank
you.
much for having us.
Thank you for coming. Peter,
You're
do you have
welcome.
any questions?
No,
Okay.
Okay.
Lori?
thank you, Kelly.
Sir? Okay,
Okay,
okay, well, great. Thank you so much for
you're
coming.
very welcome.
Really
Thank you so
appreciate your
much.
time.
Thank you.
You know, you guys are busy and you're
Yeah.
out there. You're gonna be at the library, is it?
We are
For
going to be at
registration.
the library on October 24th.
Okay.
From 4 to 5:30. We'll have
Okay.
our last voter registration
Okay,
session for the
perfect.
municipal.
Sorry, so October 24th
Just
from,
spread the
sorry.
word.
4 PM to 5:30 PM.
And you're registering voters there?
We're registering voters. You
Right.
can't get an absentee ballot only at the office, but you can register to vote there.
Right.
Okay, we'll help you spread the word.
Well,
Great.
while I'm at it, and because you're here,
Yeah.
do you know if there's been any kind of movement about the opportunity of registering at the high school for students who will be of age at the time of the next election? Is there something?
So I know that there is an individual that is associated with the high school trying to get something to do.
Mhm.
But I usually go in June is when they
Oh,
ask me
okay.
to attend, right on their senior day, senior week.
Yeah.
And would you
So-
register people there at the
Yes.
time? Oh, great.
Yep, but I can only register those people that reside in the city of Portsmouth.
Oh, yeah, okay, got it.
So we're trying to get other local town clerks that have students in the Portsmouth High School to attend that as well, so that they could actually register their residents
That would
as
be
well.
great, yeah.
So we do that, but it is held in June, so
Thank you very much.
you're very welcome.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Okay,
Thank you very
you.
much. Have a good night.
Me too.
you
Bye.
too.
Thank you. You too.
We have Sergeant Hood coming, but I have to send him a message so we can, yeah, no, I told.
Get
I
out of the
didn't
shift.
realize- I didn't realize we were going to be finishing so quickly here. But we can speak about a couple of other topics as we wait for him,
Mhm.
including the Ward 5 Forum, if you can give us an overview of the forum, of the Ward 5
Of
Forum.
the Ward 5 forum?
Yes.
Uh, yeah, it was a great forum. They're all great.
Okay.
There were a lot of questions that were asked. I didn't write them down or anything.
Oh, okay.
I just sent you the minutes, so maybe you
Yes,
still
you
have
did.
those.
I
or-
didn't get to
Are they
share. it with
online?
everyone.
Mine are on my computer, so I didn't send them to
Yeah.
everyone yet. I
Oh,
sent them
okay.
just recently.
Yes, I'll be sending it to them to review. What would you say were a couple of the major subjects?
First of all, everybody said something there. Really, everybody had questions that they were asking. You were there.
Police
The Children's
station.
Former Children's Museum is a concern because people have moved out, so it's curiosity about how that building might be used.
I didn't hear that.
What would be the potential use of the former Children's Museum, the South
Oh,
Meeting
yes, yes.
parking. Some parking spaces have been eliminated in the south end in order to make it safer for emergency vehicles to get into the streets, especially Mechanic Street and South Mill and anyway, that general area coming off of Marcy Street. And so that's eliminated some parking. So that's a concern for folks in the south end.
I know one resident, I forget the gentleman's name right now. He brought up the police station, one of the locations that they're considering.
Considering about the Cloud
Yes.
Field.
Mhm.
And he's concerned about that because of safety with the children in the Little Harbor School.
Yes.
So, but apparently that consideration is that site is in the middle of, that site is in the middle of the pack. It's not at the top of the list, but all the
Yes.
sites are being
Mhm.
considered.
Okay.
His
That's our report.
His
Thank you for
couple
joining us.
detours.
We were just talking about the police station site locations.
Yeah,
Yes, and from the Ward 5 forum that we just had, there was
Yeah.
just one gentleman that mentioned concern about having it at the
Cloud
the
Field.
park, yeah. at the
Yeah.
field.
yeah,
Well-
there's a lot, what a tough, it sounds like
Yeah.
no matter where it goes, somebody will be unhappy,
course,
so
of course.
I'm glad I'm not
Yeah,
the one making that
yeah.
decision.
Okay.
Hi, this is Gail Knowles, and I'm saying the only trouble with like putting a police station on Cloud Field is it's one of the few fields that the Portsmouth Girls Softball Association is allowed to play on, because we can't play on Little League fields because, we're women. And so, and then the Sherburne School is going to be losing that when they build housing there. So like basically the girls will be able to play on Tony Rom Field and that's it.
Yeah,
So
Yeah.
that's pretty awful.
it's tough. It's tough.
Well, we'll get there.
We will.
Okay.
But you'll notice nobody's taking away any Little League fields. Ahem.
Interesting.
Okay, thank you, Gail. Sergeant Hood, thank you again for joining us tonight.
Yeah, my
If you
pleasure.
could pull up the NNO numbers. We just wanted to review the 2023 National Night Out event, and I did put some numbers together. If you could, there it
Is that
is.
this one? Oh, okay. all right.
Yes.
Yeah.
And
All right, let me just minimize
Okay.
this. Quick. Come on.
so in total, and of course, give or take 10 or 20
Mm.
people, attendance at the NNO for this year was
Suspense.
1,119 people,
Yeah.
1,119.
That's great.
Great.
And that's a pretty good turnout.
That's really
Mhm.
good.
Yes. We, the biggest number was from Maple Haven.
Yeah.
75 adults, 55 kids. And
Tied with Friends of the South End, I believe.
let's see, Friends of the
Oh,
South
yeah,
End
no,
scroll
because they had
down.
children, they had 55
yeah.
children. We only had 5
Yes.
children. Sorry, 6
You
children.
guys 75 and 6.
Yeah.
And actually,
Spinnaker also.
yeah,
It's
Panway
only 65.
Panaway had 45 and 15, and there was another 75 somewhere else. I think it was Cedar Creek's, Cedar Creek's
Cedar
condos, yeah.
condos, yeah.
They had a pretty good turnout as well. The numbers where you see the estimate, I received numbers, but I didn't get like a clear breakdown of how many kids and how many adults. So I kind of
Yeah.
estimated from what they gave me at the beginning of the year, what their estimates were. Yes. And well, let's start with you. How did your police officers enjoy?
I think it worked
Going
out
up.
really, really well.
I
I
agree.
think, like I didn't try and reinvent the wheel this year. There was just one little aspect that we changed, and I can get into that. But as far as the police department side, I made sure that we had our specialty units. We had the two canines. We had so we had two canines and a comfort dog this time. So we had Mason, our comfort dog, I think
Yep.
went to a couple locations. We had the crime scene van, we had the motorcycles, we had our drone team go out. We had and our Bearcat went out. They only went to one neighborhood because they go to all the communities. But so what we try and do is make sure that, each neighborhood gets at least one specialty visit. And then,
Yes.
of course, we have all of our on-duty officers that they're given the schedule and they're requested to kind of fill in the gaps. So there's not too many cops all at once and whatnot.
Mhm.
And I think that worked out well last year, and I think it worked out well this year. And I'm interested to hear from the neighborhoods to see if they felt that worked out as well. The one thing that we kind of did differently this year was that we also tried to coordinate with DPW and the fire department to
Yes.
kind of give them the schedule and schedule it to spread it out.
That's the goal.
If you will, to prevent some batching. I know I spoke with the fire department. They work with a lot of on-duty resources. So, whereas I'm scheduling off-duty resources, like they're not responding to calls. They're here for National Night Out. So it is a little bit easier for us in that sense
Yes,
to
it
commit
is.
to the schedule. Whereas the fire department, they have extra guys coming in. But from what I'm hearing from them is, they can't guarantee the
Yes.
schedule because if they
That's
get a
right.
call in the middle of it, and that's understandable. And so certainly for the DPW as well, I haven't spoken with Peter Rice or anybody, but I put them on the schedule as well to specifically fill in the gaps for a time that they can, that they could show up. And then building off of that, before the event, we disseminated the schedule that we had to the city manager,
Mhm.
so that she could give it to the city officials, so that the city officials could kind of, I wasn't going to schedule them, but they could kind of see where they were best needed. I think it was a good idea. I might be a little bit biased, but so I'm interested to hear the committee's take, and if you guys have heard of anybody did that work out well? Were there any like big concerns?
I think it worked out very well. That's the feedback that I received
Good.
from almost everybody I spoke with.
Good.
They were very happy with the turnout with city council, with the police, fire, the trucks. They were all very pleased.
Good.
And the
So
cadets
you
were an
guys did a
interesting
great job.
aspect.
Yeah.
That's, yeah,
Yeah,
that's kind of interesting.
the police cadets, yeah, they were out in full force too. They were kind of
Yes.
working on some recruitment and whatnot.
Yes.
So they went around.
They went to Gosling, I know, right?
Yep.
It's one of the places they went
Yep.
to.
They came
Yeah.
to Pierce Island too.
Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, and they were one
Yeah.
of the crews. I didn't specifically give them any place to go. I said, hey,
Okay.
this is the schedule, kind of fill
Okay.
in, where you can go and hit
Yes.
hit many neighborhoods.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The only thing that I heard from neighborhood reps is that 5 o'clock is too early because most families are getting off work at 5.
Okay.
Most, the people that are working,
Mhm.
and they're not even beginning until 5:30. So, for example, DPW trucks show up, but there's no one around yet for the party
Mm.
to see it because the party has not started yet.
Mm.
So maybe that's something to take into consideration for next year
Yeah.
and see how
and-
the other departments feel about it, the city manager.
Yeah, absolutely something to consider. And I think I feel like the end time, I feel like 7 o'clock felt like it was the right time to end. Does everybody agree? Like I felt when I showed up to when we showed up the last neighborhood.
last one, they
we
were
went
closing
to
up.
Dondero there
Yeah.
in Allen Park, and like it seemed like they were closing up, and I don't know, I remember last year too, we were like 7 o'clock and it was like, it was winding down, so.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know if we need to push it out to 7:30
Okay.
to make it a 2-hour event,
Mm.
but it is gonna make it a little bit trickier, spreading
'Cause
out the,
it's tighter,
spreading out the
yes.
visits,
Mhm.
but, I think it can be done, we could probably shorten the visits a little, but, and then,
How
I
about
think-
5:15 to 7:15?
yeah, I mean, yeah, certainly we could do that, or even if it's, 5:20,
Yes.
and then so starting a little bit later, but,
Mhm.
maybe 5:20 to 7:20, or even if it's 5:20 to 7 o'clock or
Okay.
what-
Well, we
whatnot,
gotta
but-
keep in mind that it's getting dark for people,
Yeah.
so
yeah.
the more you
Well-
push it out, the darker. it is.
Right.
So,
During the summer, actually, it stays.
Yeah,
light
I
until-
remember it was
That's
like,
true,
I
it's the
remember the
summertime,
sun was
yeah.
setting, it was still
Still 7 o'clock
light
was,
out, but-
okay, yeah, so
Uh,
maybe 7:15 would be
7:45,
okay.
8 o'clock is
Yeah.
sunset.
Yeah.
Because we did hang out at Maple Haven, Elwyn Park rather, for
It's true.
a bit.
Mhm.
Even though they were finished.
So much to ask the people when their party is starting.
Most,
when
a lot
you're
of people
sending out-
start at 5:30.
Mhm.
Oh, they say that.
Yes, because they're just beginning to set up, say around 5:10, 5:15, 5:20, because a lot of the families in these neighborhoods, the parents work. There's work, or they have to pick up kids from daycare or from wherever the kids might be at.
How many neighborhoods participated?
17.
17.
17.
And how did that work
Yeah.
with spreading them out among 17?
It worked out well.
Okay.
We had enough to spread it. I'm hesitant to encourage more.
Yes,
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, honestly, if we had 12 to 15, it would be a sweet spot, I
Yeah.
think.
Mhm.
But this is doable.
Yes.
I would be hesitant to
We
go
might
more.
have an addition for you.
Yeah, so like
do.
18, like we could do, like 19, I'm sure we could
Yeah.
do, but it's gonna take is, oh, and it almost happened actually. We started out and one of our canines actually got a call out
Oh, that's right. You
at the
told me that.
beginning of it,
Yes,
and
yeah.
then it got called off, and
Okay.
so we were good. So it's, and we'll roll with it. We're ready, we're ready to plug in a patrol officer, on duty to go there. Like nobody's gonna go without, senior cop. And
Yes.
getting to go
You
in the
know.
car, but we try and make it so that, you get at least one specialty, thing. And I looked at, last year's schedule and I tried not to double up.
Yes,
on
thank
what
you
they
for
had
doing
last year.
that.
And so I was sensitive to that as well. But I mean,
Creating-
we could, so right now it's like I have half-hour visits, I have 5 to 5:30 with a 15-minute break, and then I have, 5:45 to 6:15 and then 15-minute like travel time
drive,
break. I
yeah,
mean,
the
we
driving.
could just say, 5:30 to 6 to 6:30, and then 6:30 to 7.
Mhm.
And then just, whatever, if they leave 5 minutes early or whatnot, travel time over there.
Yeah.
And I think that could get it, done
Yeah.
as well.
Mhm.
Well,
They
we-
put their lights on, they can get someplace.
If we, yeah,
Yeah.
that's right, right?
we have-
Yeah.
Speaking of, sorry, go ahead.
Go ahead.
Speaking of timing, so one of the things, just thinking about the 5 to 5:30 makes a lot of sense, but some of our neighborhood Woodlawn, for example, a lot of years, the kids will do a parade and
Yes.
they'll decorate their bikes.
Yeah.
And that's elementary school kids.
Yep.
So it probably works 5 to 5:30. So maybe there's kind of some soft program, like
Yeah.
just non-official programming.
Right.
Yeah,
And-
because I know Dondero does that.
Mhm.
They did the bike parade,
Yeah.
too. So we had somebody go out specifically for that. And if you have that request, and we can do it. So, probably what I would do, we would still have, the officers start at 5 to come in, get their gear up. And if,
Yes.
if there was a couple places that did something like that, we could certainly deploy those officers, or what, it's typically gonna be the motorcycle officers that are gonna go lead a parade and whatnot. So, we could certainly do that, but that wouldn't be a problem, but just let us know ahead of time if you're gonna do that.
Oh, I was actually thinking that they could just do the parade on their own.
Oh,
And then
on their own.
30 start would. be
Oh,
great,
okay.
because It
Oh.
would give them.
Yeah.
kind of a
Yeah,
chance to
Okay.
Just do their own thing. for
Yeah,
them.
yeah,
So
yeah.
that's okay too.
Yeah.
But yeah, I
It
know,
would
so,
be
but
cool to
to,
have a motorcycle.
Yeah.
cup.
so, and we we only have 2 motorcycles at a time, but like, I mean, if you wanted to, I mean, so I know, Elwyn Park at Dondero, they always do the bike parade.
Yeah.
They ask for the motorcycle specifically to lead it. And Lieutenant Kybert is the guy, he's done it, and he was like, yep, nope, I know I didn't even have to tell him. He's like, no, they do the parade. And he went out and he
That's
enjoys
great.
doing that. So, But yeah, so to your point, yeah, if you're fine doing that on your own and to kind of you know, make good use of the time before I
Mhm.
guess we officially kick off, then we could do that as well.
But I think the things do thin out after 2 hours. For
Yeah.
sure.
Yes, 2
You know,
hours.
and like the year before last, that was Woodbury, the Woodlawn, you guys arrived, it actually had started raining a little bit.
I
and
remember that. I
really
know.
cleared people
I
out.
remember because we were just saying like our goodbyes and then the rain started, we're like, we got in the car and that was it. We're like, okay, we're done. Yeah. Yeah, I remember that.
Do the bicycle policemen have like horns or sirens on their things so that they could lead a bike parade too? Yeah, so not motorcycles, but
Oh, the bicycles?
bicycles.
Community police.
I don't know that they have any sirens. They do have like a blue blinking
Horns.
light, but I don't know that we've had a bike officer specifically signed out. I mean, we could probably have a bike officer. But that we would have to have somebody specifically sign up for that.
Just a
But
thought.
we could look at doing that.
Yeah.
But
I
Yeah.
would think that, you know, the 5:30 start seems to make more sense just because we don't want to overuse your resources here. If there's nobody there
Yes.
and he's sitting around from 5 to 5:30 when nothing's happening,
Yeah.
that it seems to me it's a waste of resources to do that.
You know, in the past 2 years, that's what I've heard the most about is that it's just the time at
Time is
five,
too early.
5 o'clock is too early. But otherwise, again, this year, everybody was really pleased.
Yeah.
With all the visits and, there was great coverage, working together on creating that calendar and then sharing it
Yeah.
with the departments, even though I understand fire, you know, they had to work with what they had.
yeah,
But
at
it was
least-
very helpful
yeah,
for
and that's-
everybody.
And I think at least if
including
they know,
Mhm,
you know, they have it and
exactly.
they don't have to, you know, nobody has to, you know, I wasn't gonna bark at anybody.
Yes.
You know, hold them in a
Yeah.
schedule, like, hey, here's your schedule.
Yeah.
And do what you will. It'll be a
Mhm.
great event, you know, either way.
Mhm.
So, but yeah, as long as somebody has it, you know, to the back of their head, because if they have a choice, you know, they could look down and see, oh, this is being here or this is here. So,
Thank you.
so I'm glad to hear that worked out well.
Yes, absolutely.
Did
Now-
SROs participate?
Not in their role as a school resource officer. I know that we've had one of them who's on like the crime scene team. I believe he helped out in that aspect, but they usually sign up in some aspect or are out on patrol as a patrol officer. So because they work in August. No, earlier we're not in school yet in August, right?
Not yet.
Really-
No.
not
No.
yet. So yeah, so they would still be working patrol. So depending on how the schedule lines up, you know, they might be working that day. So
I was just thinking that, for example, like the NFS, or I guess elementary schools don't have an SRO, but like the middle school and high school SROs might be cool for the kids to see.
Yeah.
Them outside the context.
Oh, yeah.
You know, of
Oh,
school
absolutely.
and
Oh, yeah.
Just a thought.
yeah,
to
absolutely.
Cement those community
Yeah.
connections.
Yeah, no, and we have officers that are, you know, aside from like particularly the elementary schools, we have officers who the school is within their beat and they are well known amongst the school
Yeah.
because they go every day, they make a presence,
Oh,
you know, during drop off and whatnot. And there's officers who aren't school resource officers who will make connections with the kids and they'll see them, you know, outside of school or they'll see them at the, you know, while they're on patrol somewhere or whatnot. And it's fun to see them light up, to see them outside of that. So that's a good point.
so that would be a great addition.
They were great. Week before last, my son rode his bike to school and forgot his lock, and so I had to go over and putting the lock on his bike. SRO comes out of nowhere. I gave her Hughes lock key and she's like, "I'll bring it in." I'm like, "All right."
Great. Thank you so much, Sergeant Hood,
You were
for
very
coming
welcome.
by, and
Thank you.
Sergeant Hood just recently received an award.
Oh, thank you.
Tell us about your award.
So I was nominated by Detective Jones, who works with me, and my supervisor, Captain Keaveney, for the so the International Association, or no, excuse me, New Hampshire Association of Chiefs of Police partners up with McDonald's every year, and they do a fundraiser for the Chiefs of Police Association. And part of that also is it's supposed to be a community involvement night. And so they encourage local police departments to nominate somebody for the community involvement award for somebody, who works within the community and whatnot. So Detective Jones and Captain Keaveney were kind enough to nominate me for my work in the community and whatnot. And I was humbled and honored to
Yeah.
receive that at McDonald's a few weeks
Yeah,
ago.
that
And
was-
and
that was
Elaine,
fun, yeah.
her husband showed up, and that was very nice of you guys to take your time
They
out.
come with like lifetime burgers or,
What's that? Yeah. Well, it's funny because I worked at
I mean, come on.
McDonald's in high school, and I actually met my wife at McDonald's. So it was,
That's a great story.
it was full circle. It was fun.
Yes.
Is it sponsored by McDonald's?
So, yeah, well, it's a partnership, McDonald's, with the New Hampshire Association of Chiefs of Police.
Great.
So they partner together and they fundraise.
Mhm.
Did they reach their goal?
I don't know.
Okay,
I
we'll have
never
to find
asked.
out. We'll
I
have to
never
find out.
asked. So,
Okay,
I mean, we brought in quite a crowd. So
Yeah.
I would like to think that, with the people
Great.
there, we
Mhm.
got a goal.
well, congratulations again, and thank you again for taking the
Lifetime
time to
Burgers is a
come
great
over.
idea.
Of course.
Lifetime Burgers.
Yeah, right?
Yeah.
And we're glad
No
to
kidding.
provide you with a community involvement.
All right. Thank you. No, it's my pleasure to work with you guys, and you guys are a fantastic group of people for what you do for the community, and I'm very happy to work with you guys. So
Okay.
thank you.
Thank you, thank
I
you.
look forward to hearing any other recommendations. And I imagine we'll probably touch base next spring,
Okay.
but you get my
Mhm.
number, reach out to me. Any
I do have
concerns.
a report to share with you as
Yes,
the city
Yes,
manager.
and I'll be excited
I'll Send that to you.
to see that, and I'm gonna attach that to my
Mhm.
every year I do. a
If
debrief
not
report.
tomorrow, then over the weekend, I'll send it to both of
No
you.
problem. I look
Okay.
forward to seeing it.
All right,
Thanks, everybody.
thank you,
Thank you.
Sergeant.
Thanks.
Good night.
Congratulations.
Oh, thank you.
Yes.
It's fun.
Okay, now,
Happy news.
the next item on the agenda is the NH housing shortage discussion from last night. Peter,
Yeah.
why don't you give us an overview about it?
Yeah,
Or the other
sure.
night, it was Tuesday night, rather.
Yeah, it's just this week.
Mm.
I think we had approximately maybe 20 people
Yes,
there
it was a
roughly.
good turnout.
And this was the senior attorney from the New Hampshire Municipal Association, talking about New Hampshire's housing shortage and the various factors that are driving that, as well as in other states as well throughout the country. And I thought he gave a very good presentation. We have that PowerPoint presentation, I think,
Yes.
available to anyone who's interested. He went into a lot of depth and a lot of detail. So it's very rare that you get so much detail about all these issues, which makes it clear, I think, from what my impression was, that there's so many factors that go into why
Absolutely.
this is happening. And including the
Inflation.
pandemic, inflation, building materials. A lot of people retiring from the building and construction trade
Mhm.
because it's seasonal, and when people want a real job. Or they don't want to have just a 6-month job and not know if they have other income coming in. And in addition to that, interest rates are high now, so the builders have a hard time financing some of this construction. I think one of the interesting takeaways I got from it was when we were talking about zoning, is there are various surveys out there, national surveys and so forth. And I guess the Pew Research Center's survey basically said that 57% of American residents want to live in single-family homes. But the real estate agents
And they are.
that group, they had a different survey where it said that more people wanted to live in areas where it's a lot of things around them, where they're more densely populated, so it's kind of a contradiction. But the way the questions are posed is very critical
the
usually,
answers.
because if you say, would you like to live in a more densified thing where you can walk to the hospital and the grocery store, or would you like to live in a single family home where you have to drive to the hospital and the grocery store? So all those things are complicated. But I think one of the things he said is that overall, looking at zoning, different kinds of zoning throughout the country, it's very hard to identify what actually works and what doesn't. But they felt that one thing that does work is if the process of getting a permit, when you can reduce the length of that process that makes more impact than what kind of zoning you have.
Mhm.
So regardless of how restrictive or non-restrictive the zoning is, for most developers and builders, it's all about how long you have to wait
Yeah.
to get that permit. So that was interesting to know that maybe that is where the focus should be if we're trying to get things more quickly permitted. Of course, you still have to abide by the rules,
Mhm.
but if people are following the rules and they should be able to get this thing quicker.
And especially here in New England, as Peter mentioned, because it is cyclical for the construction because of our winters.
Whether, yeah.
So doing the permitting process in a certain amount of time, a lot shorter amount of time would be very helpful.
So is there anything else you want to add that I didn't cover?
One interesting thing, that ending graph that she had. And it's like, no matter where you are in the country, the graph is the same of how it's going up.
Yeah,
Proportionally and
What's going up?
the houses,
the number of new housing
Yeah.
units.
the cost of housing.
Well, I think the other
Going
thing,
up. Maybe it's not the same price, but it's going up proportionally
right.
from wherever area it was in.
I think a critical thing that he also mentioned is that incomes have been stagnant, have been
That's right. Yeah.
much lower and haven't kept up with housing prices, which we all know is true. So, and recently when we had this inflation, now all of a sudden people got bigger wage increases, but that's not going to last. And the housing prices still tend to be going up much more rapidly than wages are. So that's another issue that, you can't really have much control over. And then you have the housing market as such, where you live, what you can get for the housing development is very different in certain communities.
Yes, it is.
And so, wages are definitely critical for all kinds of reasons.
I
Yeah.
honestly don't know how kids do it. It used to be for every week of salary that you earned would go to, that should be the cost of a monthly place if you're renting it. And
Yep.
that is out.
Right. The other thing I think that was interesting, I don't know the numbers anymore, is that New Hampshire has a lot of out-of-state owners of housing,
Yeah.
especially on the Lakes region, summer homes,
There's
all
second
that thing.
homes, yeah.
And even here in Portsmouth, there's a lot of people buying investment properties
Mhm.
that are sitting empty most of the time of the year, or maybe if they have a chance to have an Airbnb or something. So when you think about that, especially during the pandemic, you have people maybe moving up here who bought something and then moved back to where they came from, but they still own the property, but they're tying up that housing unit. No one's living there really.
And
So
then the price has gone up, of
The
course.
price has gone
because-
up, yeah.
Yes.
people
You did
do,
mention
Yeah, go ahead.
that Minnesota reported that they don't have.
They don't have a housing shortage,
I
yeah.
haven't looked into that yet, but
Yeah.
I'm curious to read
Yeah.
up on that. No.
Well, one thing I was always puzzled about, and you might have heard this numbers thrown out often, is that New Hampshire has like a backlog of housing that we need. Like right now, we're short, 25,000 units. And they're predicting by 2030, we should have 60,000 units
60,000,
built.
Sure.
Now, I kept on wondering, and I asked him about this. So who is this for? And so the idea is that basically people in planning in the state are projecting that so many people want to move into this area. And for them, there'll be need for new housing. That's different from saying right now, people living in this state don't have housing, like homeless people. So
Well,
sometimes that gets conflated, the two. They say, oh my gosh, 20,000 people are on the streets waiting for their house to be finished, That's just not so,
Well, it's probably also people looking for employment in Portsmouth that can't afford to live in
That's right.
Portsmouth. So those are the people trying to
Yep.
move in.
Yep.
But I do have the PowerPoint presentation. Actually, it's already posted online. I asked Stephanie to
our-
post it
Where is it posted up?
on our citywide
Oh, citywide.
page. But I will also email it to everybody. Okay.
It'd be interesting to see the number of younger people who are relocating to places like Dover where they can get a job because restaurants are now opening and they can
Yes.
afford to live there. But now Dover's also. going
I
up.
know.
So the,
Yes.
the phenomenon is
Yeah.
following.
That's what happens.
Yes.
The idea that. the-
Everybody has to move to Farmington now. Dover's too expensive.
I thought it was
Yeah.
Effingham.
Well, no, I don't know. Epping's too close to Massachusetts. Epping and Barrington, and
Yeah.
they're all pretty packed now. There are a lot of expensive condos.
But the kids are enjoying going to to Dover because there are new things up there, jobs, and activity with young people.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
that may be detrimental to Portsmouth.
Oh, interesting.
Problem, not detrimental, but a
Well,
problem.
one thing I brought up, and I'm going to talk about that as the next item, I think, is the role of transportation plays.
Mhm.
And we have such poor in-state public transportation networks. If we had better public transportation everywhere, it would make give an opportunity for people to live places where they can afford, like Barrington maybe, and still be able to get to a job in Portsmouth without having to drive necessarily. Of course, when you create a corridor where there's good public transportation, that attracts development in that area because people know they can use that transportation. So it seems to me, looking at the option of what can you do quicker, build out a better public transportation system that we have part of now, or build 60,000 units of housing, which one will happen first? Okay. Because whichever happens first might give us the biggest impact.
But we will definitely be needing better transportation because Portsmouth is only going to continue to grow.
Right, right.
Well, actually, up next, Peter, is the 2023 Holiday Lights
Oh, yeah,
contest.
yeah, that's right.
We will be holding the contest again this year. The mayor's office will be working with us on that, and I spoke with Monty in the mayor's office, city manager's office. And as I mentioned to Laura, you were there when the mayor approached us and mentioned doing prizes that are say have dinner with the mayor, or do a ride along with the police chief or the fire chief.
Yeah, ride in the, yeah.
Not ride on the truck, but do a ride along. We have to kind of like work out the kinks on that.
What are you calling it?
It's a ride along.
Right along.
They'll
Ride
take you
along, not
to
ride on the
place.
truck, but ride along with the fire chief or the
Like you don't
police
ride
chief.
on the ladder or anything.
Not on the ladder, but in there, not on the ladder. No, not on the ladder, but in the
SUV
vehicles.
that the chief's
Yes.
driving, not
Oh,
the
it's
fire
the
truck.
car.
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah,
that's
it's
the
a car.
fire station,
Yeah,
the
yeah, yeah,
fire-
yeah.
The fire truck.
Yeah.
So we will be doing the Holiday Lights contest again.
Okay, now
And-
wait a minute. Just to clarify, I
Yeah.
thought that the process is we're gonna draft a letter to ask the mayor.
We did, which I copied you on it.
Okay, I didn't see that.
Okay.
When was that?
This week.
Okay, I'm gonna have to take a look.
Okay.
So I haven't seen that, but we need to get the mayor on record officially to be asking us
Okay.
to do this event,
Okay.
because he has responsibility for it then,
Yes.
prizes and so forth. It's
Yes.
not us doing it on our own.
Yes.
It's we being asked to do it.
Yes, and they're aware of that.
Well,
Yes.
I
And
understand,
I'll
but
get
I think
them.
we got to go through the process,
Yes,
right?
yes, I
Yes.
started the email.
Okay,
And
I'll
which
take
are
a look
on,
at that to
yes,
see.
and I did
might have
speak with
missed it.
Monty.
Yeah.
And then I'll reply over the weekend and discuss in the email what Monty and I talked about, and you'll be on that email as well. But they are aware that they will be handling the prizes.
Yeah.
And what I said was that,
The mayor's
mayor's
office.
The mayor's office.
Yeah,
okay.
yeah.
yes.
You were talking about
No, we're
Monty
not
was
gonna
last.
pass.
Oh,
the
he's
hat
part of
here.
the mayor's office. And then if any of us have any ideas
Yeah.
that maybe we can share with them, that would be great.
Mhm.
Okay, so if you guys are open to sharing ideas of what kind of prizes we can include for the giveaways instead of the cash prizes this year, we can pass that along to them. Okay, how does that sound? Yes,
Yeah.
Joan, did you have any comments or questions?
No.
Okay, great. Thank you for staying. We appreciate it. Okay, now moving on, election day is November 7th. We had Kelly Barnaby here
Mhm.
with June Philbrook, giving us the voter 411. And so make sure everybody gets out and votes. Okay, I will be working with Joan at Ward 3 with Representative Hamlet. So I'm excited for that. I enjoy working with her. I
Are
think
you
I
a
started
poll
doing
worker, is
this.
that it?
Pardon?
I'll be there too, Gail K. I'll be there too.
And there's a new
Yes.
process this year. Do you know that?
Pardon?
You're aware of the new process this year?
Yeah, that it's gonna
Poll
be-
pads, woohoo!
Train next Monday.
There's training
Yes.
next
There's
Monday.
Next Monday, and it's about the new process where you don't have to go sign up in a book or be identified from one of the books.
Mhm.
So that the anticipation will be, it'll be much much
Like
easier to read.
15
Yeah, it's just
seconds.
15
Identify
seconds
yourself.
There,
for
yeah,
each.
there are
Yes.
poll pads,
Yes.
but there are only 3 poll pads for each
Oh,
ward.
for each
Right.
ward, okay.
So it's just, like 3 of the ballot clerks will be
Okay.
checking in people with the poll pads.
Yeah, we're using their
Oh.
licenses, and then they'll get a ticket from the poll pad.
Yep.
Which they'll take to get their ballot, and then, so then there's no more of the counting at the end of the evening like we used to do with the pages and things from the books. It'll all come through the machine, so.
I wonder if we're gonna have backup.
We
paper.
are, so we are
Yes.
also having a
Just in
couple of the
case.
ballot clerks
Mhm,
mark the paper checklist.
Right.
And-
Okay.
Yeah.
Joan, you're the moderator, right?
Yeah, I'm the moderator.
So let me just ask you this, do you anticipate right now that you have enough workers? Because usually there are people like available if you need them, extra people who are not elected officially.
Yeah, I do have enough workers
do have
right
enough,
now.
okay.
We have been going over and over.
Because municipal elections are pretty low
Please.
turnout normally.
Yes. But we want enough people there to be able
Yeah,
to
yeah.
try out the new poll pads and make sure that's going smoothly. And it's also kind of a trial run for the primary election in January.
Mhm.
So we want
Yep.
everybody up and running. But yeah, we have a great team in
Mhm,
Ward 3.
okay.
Like, since I've been working with you
Yeah.
and with Gail.
You know,
No, I-
So if people
Oh,
are
you're
ready
working-
with their licenses or their IDs, then there shouldn't be much of a wait at all.
there should not be much of a
Right.
wait at all.
Mhm.
Yeah, really. So this.
I must say though that when I worked at greeting the voters, most people are pretty patient.
Yep.
You know, they're like,
Yeah,
thank
yeah,
you
yeah, yeah.
for being here and doing this today. And, we're not in any rush. Most of them, like
Yeah.
99% of
Yeah.
them. Yeah, so it's a
Yeah.
nice thing to do.
But okay, one comment. So
Sure.
Peter, that's a good question. I don't know if all the wards are fully staffed. I
Mhm,
think they are, but there might be a ward that still needs some volunteers.
okay.
Okay. All right, thank you. So Peter, tell us about this Portsmouth Loop transportation.
Yes, so
Sure.
by coincidence, I bumped into Bill Lyons. I don't know if you guys know Bill Lyons and Janet Pileski. They're quite active in town for various ways. But Bill is a nationally known transportation expert who's often consulting for the federal government and other places, and he lives here in Portsmouth. And he apparently is working with a couple people locally and maybe officials. I don't know exactly. Didn't get into the details. They're trying to develop something he calls the Portsmouth Loop, which would be like a shuttle service that loops around in Portsmouth neighborhoods continuously and picks people up and takes them to whatever location we have on the route. And it's not fully fleshed out yet. But I told him that, we might be interested in hosting an event where they could come talk about it to people,
That would be.
because
great.
that seems like a really
Yeah.
interesting idea.
Yeah.
Can you come in December?
Yeah, that's what I said. I was suggesting to him December,
That's great.
perhaps, would be a good time to do it.
And
Uh,
are they working with parking, traffic and safety or any of those kinds of?
See, I
those
don't
committees or
know the
anything?
details because I bumped into him on a particular occasion. We talked briefly,
Mhm.
and that's the first time I heard about it. And I said, well, it would be good to know more about it, what you're doing. But
Mhm.
because he's such a well-known and an expert kind of personality, I'm sure there's something interesting going on. And maybe that we can use that opportunity at one of our meetings to highlight what's going on and let people know.
Is he already talking with the city though that you know of?
So as far as I know, yes. I don't know who, and I don't know, and I think it might be more various organizations involved in that. Maybe they're also talking to not C&J, but the Coast, yeah, maybe they're talking Coast too. Because you would think that if you have a loop like that, you probably want to connect to the Coast shuttle, the Coast
Right.
buses as well.
Mhm.
Right.
Because you're trying to network this to make it effective for people to get from one place to another.
Mhm.
Because somebody mentioned, in New Hampshire, it's so bad that if you're like trying to come from, I don't know, let's say Rochester, and you want to get to I don't know, maybe Hampton. By bus, it might take you like 20 hours or some ridiculous time if you use public transportation.
You're walking halfway.
Yeah, you could probably walk faster.
Probably
So I think it makes a lot of sense to use what is already there and build it up and link it to other opportunities. So I don't know what he's working on, but I think it'd be interesting to find out.
Okay.
Okay, so question.
Yeah.
So this is not Coast doing this Portsmouth?
No.
group, This is another.
As far as I
company.
know, not,
Okay.
but I don't know who Bill is working with or his
Okay.
group is working with.
Find out.
So it's another, okay.
It might be a collaboration with various groups. I
Yeah,
don't
yeah.
know. Might be even Rockingham County,
Yeah,
the Rockingham County Commission.
okay.
They have transportation issues they're trying to do too. So like, as as some of you probably know, and I'm not as old along here as many, there used to be like a whole shuttle along
Wow.
the seacoast from or Seabrook all the way up to Portsmouth and back in the summer
Hmm.
that took people down there all the time, and that just disappeared.
Mhm.
So there used to be actually better transportation for a while, but now it's pretty poor right now.
Mhm.
So
So you're talking about potentially bringing him to the December meeting?
yeah, well, I'm gonna ask him about that. I thought just, he was at first saying, maybe we could talk about it before the election. I said, yeah, it's too much going on, let's wait till after the election and maybe December would be a good
Okay.
time to do that.
I wanted to actually bring up the conversation from the last meeting about rotating people
Mhm.
coming to speak. And so
Mm.
if you want to volunteer, Peter, to do the first one, I was going to volunteer to do the first one. And I don't have anything confirmed, but I have an idea that I can then share once I
Okay.
connect, but I wanted to
Yeah,
make sure that we
absolutely.
kind of had a plan,
Okay.
because
Yeah,
to make
you
sure
want
that you're not
to just
overbooked.
elaborate a little
Oh,
bit,
yeah, no,
what, Will, can you
No,
just tell
sure.
me a little bit about how you're thinking about that? So you mean, if we have topics we want to bring up or something like that, or?
Right, kind of a special guest
Special
or a
guest.
special topic in that the CNC members, we would all rotate month to month.
Yeah.
So that no one of us would be overburdened with having to
Well, what we can do is, let's share the ideas and see who we can put,
Right,
who we
yeah,
can
I
put
mean,
into the agenda.
perfect.
I don't mind creating it.
Yeah.
But bringing the ideas would be
Yeah,
great to
yeah.
have people. come in.
And
So
you,
that'd be great.
usually it's easier, and even this Bill Lyons thing, I know Bill personally, so it was just a coincidence that I bumped into when he said this to me,
Mhm.
and it sounded interesting. But so if any of you bump into somebody in a similar situation and you hear something that you think might be of interest to our neighborhood committee, bring it forward and let us look at that.
Absolutely.
Because I think that was the one thing we were talking about maybe a year ago, that in addition to our big events like the holiday event and the National Night Out, there are like topics that are of interest to people. I mean, certainly the voting issue.
Mhm.
And I think the housing thing was that's
Oh,
one of the
absolutely.
reasons I brought
Great
that
job on
forward,
that, Peter.
because I had interaction with the municipal association previously. And so this is another thing maybe, but there are other topics out there and,
There are many topics.
Yeah.
We just have to,
Yeah.
we just have to reach out to the neighborhood reps, our neighbors, and ask them what are the subjects or what are the issues that they're concerned about,
Mhm.
and for us to bring it to each other,
Yeah.
and then we can start getting a media agenda out there.
we do need to be careful about not overburdening everybody with too many things because we're not the only group trying to do things like this. And also there is some, as everybody knows, there is certain kind of possessiveness about territorial. This is my territory. Don't get involved in my issues or something.
No, I
So we're
understand.
not trying to do any of that. We're trying to fill in the gaps where no one is doing that.
Yeah.
I think that's why I wanted to know about that person's, Mr. Lyons' association with the city or whatever, whether that was just, a thought, there.
Yeah. I will find out more details from him.
Yeah, that's
He's
great.
traveling right now. That's why I couldn't get more details by this time.
Okay.
To see if that's already advanced somewhere within the
Yeah.
city or something
Yeah,
else.
yeah, I
because
will
then we-
find out more details and I'll share it with everybody.
Thank you.
Yeah.
And Peter, speaking of network, my idea was actually getting an update on the skate park. but also bringing, hopefully connecting with somebody from the rail trail, exactly, as well, so they could both talk not only about the skate park, but how the interconnection is being
yeah,
developed to
yeah,
connect to our
yeah.
neighborhoods,
Mhm.
you know, and
Go
how,
downtown.
how walkable, bikeable that park will
I
be,
love
and
that.
at what times those things will become.
Well, wouldn't
you know,
that be the public works people or would be able to talk to us about that? I mean, everyone's working on it, right? The trail.
Peter talked about the top of that trail
Yeah.
being done in the spring. So
Yeah.
he said that that whole,
Yeah, he
that
spoke
the
about
final
it at
paving will be
the
done
The
forum.
at
forum,
the
yeah.
forum. He
And I
said
did
that,
that design workshop a year ago where we were
Uh-huh.
doing little kiosks and different elements on it. And there was a group who was kind of championing it. It wasn't DPW specifically, so I was gonna
Mhm.
try to reach out to
It
those
would be
guys.
fun to actually see it from that point of view, from that angle. So, yeah, if you could.
Yeah,
if you could find-
that's a great topic. Yeah.
The skate park is doing a good job promoting itself. as
Yeah,
an individual
I don't think you have to
entity.
promote that.
We can kind of make it
You just have to have a
more about-
GoFundMe effort now.
That would be great. That would be actually a really fun subject.
I'll work on doing
Okay.
that.
Mhm.
So, okay, so moving on now, the holiday parade, the holiday lights parade. So are we gonna march?
Oh.
Peter expressed interest in marching.
I did.
Yes, you did.
You must have
After the,
volunteered me.
After the June parade, the grand parade, you're like, well, this is fun. We should do it in December.
but-
And I was like, yes.
Wait a minute. Yeah, the
Oh, we
temperature was
can-
a lot warmer. Not much.
That's what Fred said.
Thinking out loud, Peter.
That's what Fred said. He was like, it's gonna be much colder, but I was like, well, we can.
I
do
guess
one
now
of
that we have a banner.
We have
we
a
can
banner that we
use-
have to put to use.
Yes.
So everybody mark your calendars. It's December 2nd. I don't have it down here. December
That
2nd,
sounds right. Yeah.
December 2nd, which is on Saturday.
Saturday, yeah.
And it'll be a lot of fun. I attended last year's parade and I had a blast. And I was like, oh, it was so much fun to watch.
December 2nd.
And now we
Excited
can
to
be in the
watch.
parade and,
Yeah.
you know, we can invite the neighborhood reps again. And this time I'll do it like, you know, hopefully I'll get more people to join us.
Yeah, we don't have the luxury that the state representatives have. They
And
have
we're gonna.
a
ask the
heated
state
van
reps
right
to-
behind them at all times.
Well, maybe you can help encourage the residents to march.
Okay.
Uh,
I'll work
That'll
on
be
that.
fun. Okay, so mark your calendars. Oh. I'm gonna be here. I'm not traveling anywhere. Oh, you won't be?
I may or may not be. I'm not
Okay.
sure.
I mean,
I know where
I'm
you're.
here, if I'm here,
that time of year can be pretty cold.
Yes.
No,
Who knows? It
That
might
can
be
be
a
pre-
warm, it might be. a
It could be.
warm
could be
December.
warm.
You never know.
I think I've done that like 6 or 7 times now, and some of them were bitter cold.
When I had my brownie troop, and
Yeah.
I would say to the parents, your girls are going to be standing around for an hour and a half, and then they're going to be walking. And one year it was like 11 degrees. So I said to the parents, if your kid doesn't show up in a parka and snow pants, she's going home.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know, kids show up with like leggings and stuff. I was like, dude, are you mental? You know, like,
Yeah, absolutely.
yeah, sometimes it was very cold, but,
Mhm.
and then other times it was like 50 and you were like, what? So
That's what we're hoping for.
it's a crapshoot.
Yes,
I'm just gonna
Okay.
jump to the next ward forum.
Yeah.
info,
yes,
Yeah.
And then I have to go.
Sure.
okay,
So
I
it's gonna
think
be
we're all
Ward
good.
2,
yes, thank
and
you.
it's gonna be probably in February.
Okay,
So
Okay.
that's the timing that
All right.
That sounds
worked
good.
it out, because at some point I was moving it fast and she was saying, hold on everything, because this is like taxing everybody's schedule. So
Yeah,
we came up with a plan for this 3 times a year.
Great,
And,
great.
And the next one is February
Yeah.
so,
approximately.
so this year we had 3? This
Yeah.
2020?
We did,
Yeah,
I know,
we,
there was some mess with the. I
Yeah,
have
what
to look at
happened
my
was-
schedule, but
yeah,
I,
Ward 2 should have been before Ward 5,
Mhm.
but something happened. I think there was, something happened at the beginning of the year.
Yeah,
I,
yeah.
unfortunately, I don't have my notes with it, but I think
I have
that
it all
it
for
was
you.
during COVID time.
Hmm.
And we were at the middle school and
Uh-huh.
we couldn't get Zooming in there.
Mm.
Yeah.
So we had to just
Could be.
cancel
Yeah,
that
could
one
be, Yeah, yeah.
and move on to another time frame or
Yeah.
move it to the other location.
will you hope to have it at the middle school?
We were supposed to, they
I
wouldn't,
mean, for the next one, we'll hope to have it at the middle school.
if like, so do we need Zoom?
No,
No,
not
No,
for the ward forum.
Then
No,
it
we
can go
don't.
to the middle
Yes.
school.
Yeah, it's best to go right into the wards
Yeah.
Where
to
they
do the
vote, and they know
forums.
it.
We should do that even for Ward 5 next time. Would
yeah,
be best to
I
do
think,
that.
I think it's a good idea to do it at the polling stations.
Well, they
Yeah,
turn,
the
they.
schools
Because we
change our
associate
time
ward
for-
with
Right.
where you get your votes.
But I,
It's a good
So
idea.
getting people
I would-
used to that.
Yeah.
I would
yeah.
think it'd be a good idea to plan for a Zoom capable venue. And I mean,
So that people,
February,
yeah.
it's in the dead of winter. That's when COVID spikes and when the flu
Mm.
spikes.
that's true, that's
If-
True.
true.
If the health situation
Okay, so we're not
shifts,
going
it
to
would
the
be
middle
great to
school.
not have.
Yeah.
We can do a,
Yay, who's that voice of reason? I like him.
yeah, we can do a Facebook Live or something.
But
We'll
yeah, we
figure
can
it
do
out.
Go
We'll
to the
work on it.
library,
Yeah.
I'll figure out.
But I do have all the dates, all the, for the last, at least couple of years. Oh, hi, John.
Well, I know, did you get them on your own or the ones I gave you?
All on my own, and I sent them to you, but I'll resend them to you, and it all matches up.
So Lori,
Yeah, it
Lori,
all matches up for
I
what,
don't need it. It was just that April's.
No,
fourth
not-
That wasn't working.
yeah, no, you should see it because you should see it and have a record of it, so I'll send it to you and to Peter.
so Lori,
All the dates, all the forum dates. So
So
you
you're
guys
saying I
can have
didn't
it.
have them? But you said. it
I don't
matched
think
up.
you didn't have all of them because you didn't have Ward 2 forum. So I'll send you all of them.
Well, I know we didn't have Word
Yeah.
2.
Okay, so I'll send it to you
Um,
guys, so you guys have a record of it.
so Lori, if I'm not mistaken, once we talked about this, the cycle is now that over a 2-year period, we cover all 5 wards.
Yeah.
Is that
that's
right?
the goal.
So this year we did 3. Next
You know,
year
I
we're
didn't-
doing 2.
I didn't bring everything.
Okay,
here
anyway,
with me
so
right
the
now.
idea is
Really,
a
we're-
2-year cycle, we cover all 5
When we do
wards.
Ward 2, then we're gonna have completed everything.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, we did,
In the 2-year
we
period.
did
5,
4, 1, and
5.
5.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Mhm.
so I think we did, yeah.
And we were just saying that Ward 2 is next in February
Yeah.
Yeah,
24th.
Word 2 is
Five
gonna
years.
happen sometime in February. I
Okay.
think.
that's about the right pace.
Okay.
Mhm. Okay.
Well,
Lori,
we're,
keep me posted on if you need help with technological support
Okay.
for a venue and
Oh, yes.
it should,
We definitely would need a Zoom link if
Yeah.
we're gonna get it into a Zoom
Mhm.
place.
that should be an easy thing.
yeah.
It's,
Yeah.
it's somebody with, so, and somebody who's invited, who can host it. Yeah, that's it. Should be-
I'm also pretty good at that stuff too, just in a pinch. I have to head out now, but it's been very interesting listening to all the stuff and thank you for listening to my 5 cents here and there.
Thank
See you
you.
at the polls.
Thanks, Gail.
And Joan, I'll see you soon. And the rest of you guys have a lovely evening.
Take care. Yes,
Bye,
Counselor
everyone.
Tabor.
It's nice to
Hi.
see you.
Bye, Lori.
Yeah,
We're
I had
just,
a
we're
conflict
just,
until
we're just
now.
finished. Oh, yeah, no, thank you so much.
I
We're
know
just finishing up and
Uh-huh.
the last announcement is that the next CNC public meeting is on Thursday, December 14th.
Yeah.
Right here in Conference Room A.
So you got it just in time for
So, yeah, so we'll see everybody.
that. So,
6:30.
Yeah, 6:30. We'll see you all on December
Mhm.
14th.
all right.
Unless I see you guys before that. Yes. Is there anything that you want to add or,
No,
okay,
Hey, let me ask you, Elaine,
yes,
do we have like an idea of when the holiday lights contest is gonna happen?
yes, we're gonna make the
Is that gonna be
announcement.
before that date or after that date? Or
I'm not sure yet. I'm
Okay,
just
we
mapping
don't
it
know
out,
yet.
but I know that we're gonna definitely do the contest.
Yeah. yeah.
And like I said, if the members could think of, some kind of prize that we could give our ideas to the mayor's office. They have their ideas and we can just go with what they give us.
Yes.
But if we have anything, that would be pretty cool, I think.
Well, as
that
long
we
as they
should-
pay for it, that's fine.
They're absolutely going to.
Let them decide what that is, and I say.
Actually, the idea that I have is, maybe we can get some donations from the Portsmouth 400, just a couple of
yeah,
giveaways, yeah,
Yeah,
that we
yeah.
could give to the, you know
That
how
would be
the,
great.
the honorable mentions, that we can, they can receive that, maybe a comic book or
Mhm,
something, a comic book for the kids. So I thought that would be a nice
mhm.
honorable mention gift. The other stuff I'm still working on. And please share your ideas, okay?
People who are into the holiday lights competitions are typically pretty festive people, so
Yeah.
maybe I like a gift certificate to like a Macro Polo, like something
Yeah.
that's fun,
Well,
like a fun Portsmouth.
They're trying to get away from the gift certificate aspect
Okay,
of
all right, I
it,
thought
so.
just the cash.
Yeah, so they're trying to do, one of the things the mayor mentioned was, lunch with the mayor, which I thought would be.
How much is that worth?
That's gonna be on him.
In the cafeteria.
And then another one was a ride along,
Yes.
another was a ride along with the fire chief, a ride along with the, police chief.
Chief, yeah.
You know, and maybe a ride along with Public Works Director.
Yep.
Peter Rice.
Yeah, one of the snow plows maybe, right?
Well, that's the thing. Monty
see.
mentioned that that may not be possible
Yes,
because
yes,
of,
yeah, you
yeah,
can't do
so-
that.
so they
You
can't do that.
Yeah.
But there are a lot of other things that we
Yeah,
can be creative with. So I would love to hear your ideas that I can share with the mayor's office.
When the families come to get their awards, when they win the prizes, they're so excited. The whole family shows up,
Yes.
there'll be a row.
Sure,
Yeah.
of course.
Yeah, right, so they're so excited.
No, I wasn't here when they did that. I was back home on Saipan, but this year I intend on being there because,
Well, and people,
sorry, I missed it.
you know, the map goes up and people drive to. see
Oh,
it.
yes, I love the map.
Serious.
Stephanie Secord does a fantastic job putting that map together, and she'll be in charge of that again this year. Yeah.
We judged on Ocean Road and I thought I was gonna die that night. You can't slow down on Ocean Road.
That's
but-
Yeah,
oh,
no,
boy,
it's-
boy.
You can pull into my road. My road is right at Banfield and Ocean. It's the private road. You can pull in there if you want. And
I
then,
wish I'd
you know,
done that
walk
last
up
year,
and
'cause-
down on the
'cause there's a
sidewalk.
whole group of them right at that corner.
Yeah.
If you remember, there were about five.
That's
of them
right,
at
yeah.
that
Yeah,
corner.
yeah.
Yeah, I
Yes.
know.
So I
and
tried to slow down.
There's
bad
kids
idea.
who walk on Ocean Road. Just
Oh,
Right, that's.
I walked on Ocean Road. I was scared. So with that, everybody, this meeting is adjourned.
Good.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you.